listening to Next Level Thinking on St. Martin Gov Radio 107.9.
Welcome back, listeners, to Next Level Thinking. In the previous segment, we've discussed how to deal with stress. How can we deal with the daily stresses in life, but also the bigger stresses in life? We can try and find something that de-stresses us so that we can deal better with the difficult things in life. Sometimes stress does pile up, though. Symptoms get more severe, and you pass the stage of facing it alone. In this fourth segment, we will discuss what help is available when you just need that extra support.
Seeking help when things pile up and you can't face it alone, it's not that easy for people.
No, unfortunately it isn't. I guess there's still a lot of stigma around that, on finding help and being able to go out there and...
Yeah, often it's seen as a weakness, like you're not strong enough if you cannot deal with that. And then that says something about you, but does it really?
Right. And it doesn't, but I guess, as you said, we all deal with stress, but we all deal with stress differently. But there's often a judgment as in, you have to deal with it yourself. We all have difficult times and you just push through it.
Yeah, so it makes people to not seek the help that they need,
Exactly.
the stigma that there is. So we need to break that stigma and talk more about these topics with each other, I think.
Right, and also talk about it, that it's there, but also that it's normal to get help for it.
Yeah, yeah. So we discussed before, you have those minor life events that can cause serious effects on your cognitive functioning, or memories, or general well-being. But there are also major life events that people go through. Think about combat, military operations, abuse, car accident, fire, those kind of things. This will lead to just more than stress, I think.
Yeah, that has an effect on your well-being that could lead to a psychological disorder. And if not treated, it could lead to serious health problems also. And, have a negative effect on your quality of life. It could make life really, really tough.
Right, right.
We discussed before already the acute stress disorder, but what I would like to mention now is the post-traumatic stress disorder.
PTSD.
Yeah. So the acute stress disorder is something that could last for a month. But if after that you're still suffering symptoms of stress, intrusive thoughts, re-experiencing the event, you avoid situations, it can have a big impact on your daily functioning. You are not going to work anymore, not leaving the house maybe. Well, then it could lead to a post-traumatic stress disorder.
Right.
And did everybody after the hurricane have PTSD?
No, I don't think so. No.
It is something we discussed a lot after the hurricane.
It is.
With our association.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was mostly to make people aware that, hey, watch out. It could lead to, but it doesn't have to lead to. And that depends on how you deal with stress, how you receive stress, and what type of factors you have around you, support, etc.
And it's also something you should not or could not diagnose yourself, right? You need to go to a professional psychologist, a psychiatrist who is able to diagnose it for
so don't go online and do a self-help list.
No.
Get the help. Let a professional discuss and review that with you.
Yeah.
What I want to talk about as well is burnout. That is also something you hear often.
More and more often.
More and more often. What is burnout?
I think it's a topic that has been coming up more and more and more now. And I think there is also, maybe a misconception of what is a burnout. Is it just, not feeling like working, but it's really not being able to deal with this overwhelming stress constantly. It's chronic stress.
I heard a nice comparison. They say excessive stress, that feels like you're drowning in responsibility. And we have that every now and then. But a burnout is being all dried up. So it's done at that moment. And then burnout can kind of surprise you sometimes, but then probably you had stress for a longer time and it makes you kind of stop functioning. You cannot take up on your work. You feel emotionally drained and unable to meet constant demands.
So it's having no more energy.
It's having really no more energy. So physical and mental exhaustion. And it really makes you sick.
Right.
It is like that marathon each and every day.
Exactly. And not getting the chance to recharge.
Yeah. So crochet and by.
Exactly. So what can we do if we notice that, hey, this goes beyond regular stress? I'm not able to manage this anymore. It's normal to have a stressful moment and you bring it back down, and then there's some stress again, but you bring it back down. But what if this stress is constant? We notice like, I don't know what to do. I'm drowning in this stress. I don't have any energy left anymore.
Yeah. So in this previous segment, we already discussed medicine. That it would be nice to have that pill that solves all the stress immediately. But however, this is symptom reduction and problem solving, or teaching you how to deal with future stress is not something you learn by just taking medicine. So this is where psychological treatment comes in. If the stress is affecting your daily life, you should seek professional help.
So you need psychological treatment then to support you deal with stress. I think also if we talk about the burnout, go to your doctor.
Yeah.
I think that is the first step, is to take it seriously and don't sit home alone in your misery, but go to your doctor and talk about it. And then the doctor indeed could check like, hey, should I refer you to a psychologist?
Yeah, because a burnout can be very serious and can really take you out of the running for a very, very long time if you don't really tackle it.
But what do we do then in our therapy? Because I know that there are certain techniques that we can use, but it might be good to talk about that a little bit, right?
Well, in the first episode of Next Level Thinking, we already talked about what psychology is, and we mentioned thoughts, feelings, and behavior. This is something that we talk about in a therapy called cognitive behavioral therapy. You can imagine when you think about fixing your roof, not having the financial funds to do so, and being responsible for a family with or without children who need a safe place to sleep, prepare for school, play with their friends. All these thoughts, they contribute to increased stress level. And when you feel stressed out, panicky, sadness, and maybe ashamed, that roller coaster of emotions, these emotions, they will have an effect on your mind and your behavior. I think those symptoms we discussed in the previous segment as well, like the food cravings, eating too much or too little, sudden angry outbursts, drug and alcohol abuse. So in this therapy called cognitive behavioral therapy, your psychologist will discuss these thoughts and behavioral patterns that develop in time.
Yeah, they give you like extra tools to deal with the negative thoughts or the stressors and how to actively cope with it.
So it's really learning how to rethink, learning how to think in a more
helpful way.
Helpful
thoughts.
Yeah.
That's what we want. Yeah.
Okay.
And there's also a therapy strategy or technique called mindfulness or mindfulness-based cognitive therapy. And that's an interesting one as well. And also to explain to people, I always compare it to your mind can be a Velcro. The thoughts, they can stick on your mind and stay there. But with mindfulness, you take a little bit perspective, you create that space, and that's helping you to lose the sticky quality of the thoughts.
Okay. So we also have EMDR, which is a psychotherapy treatment that was originally designed to alleviate the distress associated with traumatic memories.
EMDR is indeed a specific therapy form, and I think we're going to talk about that in episode 6 related to hurricane stress. So,
So we'll get a little bit more into that, into EMDR and what that exactly is. So we have different sorts of stress, and from daily life stress to negative life events, resulting into acute stress, which can affect your emotional well-being as well as your health. Now, luckily, there's a lot we can do. For example, a healthy lifestyle and working on managing stress coping skills. When symptoms meet the criteria, you can be diagnosed with a disorder, whether it's a burnout, PTSD, acute stress disorder. In such a case, it's so important to get help. There are professionals, psychologists on the island able to give the different sorts of therapies we just discussed. Just go to your GP and he or she will refer you to the psychologist. Thank you all for listening today to Next Level Thinking. This program has been made possible by the Ministry of Public Health and DCOM. Please follow APAP SXM on Facebook to stay updated with our journey to inform the community and strengthen mental health care on the island. And don't forget to tune in next time to Next Level Thinking on St. Martin Gov Radio 107.9.
Next Level Thinking.